A high-pressure water gun aimed at the girl. The powerful impact left her breathless, but the rich man looked at her with a sidelight, ignoring the girl's pleading. This was a full 5 hours. When it was over, the rich man had cooked dozens of dishes, but the girl clearly doesn't eat meat. But the rich man shoved the food into her mouth. If she doesn't finish it within 10 minutes, what awaits her will be even more cruel torture. In order to survive, the girl could only use her trembling hands, swallowed the food one by one. She thought the rich man could spare her, but this was only the beginning. Then Mike took her to the toilet. The girl was told to scrub every floor. Every 10 minutes, Mike would come to check. If the brush is not clean, she can only sleep in the toilet at night. Because of the long time soaked in water, the girl's hands began to fester, but she did not dare to stop for a moment. After brushing all night long, the girl walked outside weakly. When she saw the blinding sunlight, instantly had hope for life. But the rich man's next words once again made the girl feel desperate. From now on, you are my exclusive slave. You will be at my beck and call 24 hours a day. The girl thought that when she met the rich man, from then on she could live a happy life. But instead, she became the object of the rich man's hand. She walked numbly into the bathroom, took off her tattered clothes. After a brief grooming session, Mary finally changed into clean clothes. She didn't know what her life would be like, but now the only option. She had to follow the rich man's orders. What Mike never expected was that when Mary finished dressing up, she looked like a different person, but he didn't say much. Instead, he asked the butler to teach her manners. Mike's family is well known in the area, and they have a lot of money. So working as a maid in a mansion like this, there are strict requirements for all aspects, like keeping the pool clean at all times. Even a leaf is not allowed to change the towel. Throw them away after each use. Mike likes cleanliness very much, cannot tolerate a little stain. Then he taught Mary how to grind coffee by hand, to be so precise that even the grams cannot be wrong. And finally, lemon slices. The housekeeper thought it would take Mary a while to get used to it, but the seemingly clumsy Mary was very smart. She soon became familiar with all the work. However, while she was wandering around, she ran into Mike again, even though Mary tried not to make any mistakes. But Mike was still not nice to her. Then, he dragged her into the bedroom alone. Don't think you know how to make coffee. You'll get a compliment every time you get the job done. Instead, I'll torture you slowly. You'll regret coming to this mansion. And with that, he turned and left, leaving Mary alone. She looked at the necklace in her hand. She couldn't stop the tears from falling. Obviously, she had a tragic story to tell. At that moment, Mike changed his attitude. He looked at the photo with his sister. His face was full of sadness. It turns out that Mike has two sisters. The second sister has been working as a doctor in Africa. Because the local medical care is very backward, she was very sympathetic to the people there. So she decided to go to Africa alone. But the conditions there are very difficult. Mike always wanted his sister to come back, but even though they tried to persuade her, second sister refused to go home. She thought she could find the value of life here, and she had many friends here. Coincidentally, Mary was one of them. Mary was always in the hands of the local mob. She was often beaten. In the process of treatment, the woman was sympathetic to Mary's plight. She treated her like a sister. She also gave Mary her necklace. But word of this soon reached the organization's boss. In a region where medical equipment is scarce, he decided to steal the medicine from the hospital. But he was discovered by a woman. In order to hide the news, the man actually used Mary to secretly poison the cake. At this point, Mary doesn't know what's going on, did not know that the cake had problems, and so a tragedy occurred. When Mike learned the news, the first time to go to Africa, he saw his sister's cold body. Now Mike is completely anxious. After learning what had happened, he found the local gangsters without saying anything and directly take action. Did not give the other side the opportunity to explain. After all that, his next target was Mary, even if Mary didn't know it. But in Mike's eyes, if Mary hadn't sent the cake, his sister would not have been in trouble. So he brought Mary back home. He imprisoned her in the mansion to take revenge, and Mary knew she felt guilty. She understood what Mike had done to her, but just as Mike was getting lost in his memories, there was a scream, and when he came out, he found his cousin ready to bully Mary. Mike didn't just watch. Instead, he threw up his arm and hit her. He coldly told his cousin that this woman was mine. No one but me can bully her.